Bismillah Rahman Rahim. This is a lecture about the bones of the upper limb. In the previous lecture, we have explained about the clavicle and scapula. In this lecture, we will explain the osteology and muscular attachment to the humerus, then ulna and radius, and then carpal bones, and then metacarpal bones, and then phalanges. But the first thing we will discuss in this lecture is the humerus. And the first we will explain the osteology of the humerus. As you can see, this is the left humerus, because you can know that on the distal distal end of the this question is very important for OSP and Viva also, that you will be given a bone, that this bone is of the right side of the body or of the left one. To how to understand that this humerus is of the right side of the body or on the left side of the body. So to learn this, you have to simply look at this explanation and listen carefully. That first I have to discuss the proximal end. There is head of the humerus. The head of the humerus must be pointing medially in medial direction, and the medial epicondyle, you don't know the medial epicondyle, but on the shaft of the humerus you have to look onto this tuberosity. This is the deltoid tuberosity. This deltoid tuberosity must be on the lateral side of the humerus. So when you put this, or you hold this on your hand, you have to point the head on to the medial side. Head should be pointed towards the medial side. And also note that this greater tubercle, this is the lesser tubercle, this is the greater tubercle. The greater tubercle must be pointed towards the lateral side. So when you hold the humerus in your hand, you have to point the greater tubercle laterally, head medially, lesser tubercle also medially, and also this deltoid tuberosity laterally, and this will be the anatomical position of the humerus. So in this way you can understand the anatomy of this. And this is on the distal portion. You can also prepare this for us, that the coronoid pasa must be on the medial side. Coronoid pasa must be on the middle side. This is this is shallow while this is deep. Coronoid pasa is deep while radial pasa is shallow. So this is the very important discussion about for OSPs and Viva. Now we have to explain the osteology of the humerus. First of all, on the proximal end, you can see the humerus, the head of the humerus, which will be pointed toward the middle side, and this is located in the glenoid cavity of the scapula, which is present on the lateral angle of the scapula. Glenoid cavity is present on the lateral angle of the scapula, or a lateral border of the scapula, which is a complex portion. I have discussed all these points in the previous lecture. So if you have not watch the previous video, you have to first watch the previous video and then watch this video. So there is the then below the head of the humerus, there is surgical neck. This is the anatomical neck. Then below there anatomical neck, there is the greater tubercle on the lateral side, while on the middle side, medial to the greater tubercle, there is the lesser tubercle. Between the two tubercle, there is the intertubercular sulcus or groove. Then, and note that in this groove, the tendon, the short head of the biceps brachii runs in this tubercle. This is in this tubercle, the short head of the biceps brachii muscle runs. Then there is the shaft. We have to discuss about the shaft. This is the shaft of the humerus. Like in first of all, there is surgical neck. This is the surgical neck. This is the surgical neck. You have to look here. This is the surgical neck, and below the surgical neck, you can see on the shaft there is the deltoid tuberosity on the lateral side of the humerus, where the deltoid muscle is the insertion of there. This is the insertion of the deltoid muscle, and then there are below the deltoid tuberosity on the distal end of the humerus. You can see two ridges. Medial supracondylar ridge. This is the medial supracondylar ridge. This is the lateral supracondylar ridge. And this ridge go down, and this ridge is initiated from the medial epicondyle, and this is from the lateral epicondyle. Below, now we have to discuss about some other things. There is, as you know, that in the forearm there are two bones. One is radius and other is ulna. So the radius is attached laterally, present laterally, while the ulna is present on the medial side of the body of the forearm. So there are, and you also know that the coronoid, we will study that in this lecture, that the coronoid fossa is the part of which bone? This is the part of the medial bone, and the medial bone is which? What is the medial bone? The ulna is the medial bone of the forearm. So there is coronoid process on the ulna. So there should be which fossa on the humerus? The coronoid fossa is present. For what thing? For the coronoid process of the ulna. The coronoid process of the ulna. Then there is the radial fossa, which is present for the radius bone of the forearm. Then there is the lateral epicondyle, and this you have discussed the medial epicondyle. Then there are two other things. One is capitulum and other is trochlea. This is the capitulum, this is the trochlea. Trochlea is present on the medial side, and capitulum is present on the lateral side. And you also know that on the lateral side there is the radius. So capitulum crazy CR, capitulum with radius, and tulips TU, and trochlea palms joint with the ulna. So these are most important things you have to keep in mind. Now we are going to discuss about the anatomy of the osteology of the ulna. This is the ulna bone. You have to look on this picture also, that this is the lateral position. Radius is present on the lateral side, while the ulna is present on the medial side. You can see the ulna in this picture. This is the interior view, and this is the lateral view of the ulna. First of all, there is olecranon. olecranon process. Then below the olecranon process there is trochlear notch, and this is for what thing? This is for the trochlea of the humerus. And below then there is the coronoid process. This is the coronoid process, and the coronoid fossa is present on the humerus. Now below there are some other things, and this is the shaft of the ulna. This is the anterior view of this bone. And also note that on this portion there is an interosseous membrane. Interosseous membrane is not attached. On which side this interosseous membrane is attached? On this side. On this side. On this side. On this side of the ulna, the interosseous membrane is attached on the middle side, and this is the middle side. Now you have to look that on lateral end there is a styloid process of the ulna. This is also very important. So these are some things. And on the lateral side of the ulna, what thing is present? Though this is the most important thing, which is known as the radial notch. A radial notch is present, and this is for what thing? This is a depression per radius. Now we will discuss the radius. This is the head of the radius. Then this is the shaft of the radius, and then the styloid process of the radius. And also that note that there is ulnar notch. On which side? There, like an ulnar notch, but it is not shown in this picture. Now we will discuss about the muscle attachment to the humerus and radius and ulna. Let us discuss this in the following diagram. With the help of this diagram, wait for a short time. So this is the humerus. This is the humerus in the Snell anatomy. Snell anatomy is a good book to study anatomy for the first year, to prepare and to take good marks. So this is the head of the humerus. This is the greater trochanter. On the lateral side, this is the lesser. This is the greater tuberosity. This is the lesser tuberosity. And sorry for some inconvenience, that trochanter is present on the femur, and the tuberosity is present on which bone? On humerus. So sorry for some inconvenience. This is the lesser tuberosity. This is the greater tuberosity. And note that the greater tuberosity is the attachment site for three muscles of rotator cuff muscles. One is which type of muscle these are attached with the greater tuberosity. One is supraspinatus muscle. Second is infraspinatus muscle, and the other is teres minor. While lesser tuberosity, only one rotator cuff muscle attached, and this is the subscapularis. Now we will discuss that what are different muscles which are attached on the intertubercular groove, the bicipital groove. There are two muscles. There are three muscles which are attached on the lateral and medial and on the front of the bicipital groove. One is the latissimus dorsi, which is attached in the bicipital, which is which is inserted on the bicipital groove, and the latissimus dorsi. This is the latissimus dorsi. Yes, pectoralis major and the pectoralis major is attached on the lateral side. This is the pectoralis major lateral side, while on the middle side, teres major is attached. Now, this is the deltoid tuberosity, and which is present on the lateral side of the humerus, and the coracobrachialis insertion is on the medial side of the deltoid tuberosity. Now, this is the brachialis attachment origin from the shaft of the humerus, and then pronator teres muscle, which is attached on the medial epicondyle, while the and this medial epicondyle is also called common flexor origin, and there is the attachment of a tendon which is called common flexor tendon, which is known as common flexor tendon. And what is indicated by this green portion? This green portion shows the capsule of the elbow joint. So this was the interior surface of the humerus. Now the posterior surface of the humerus, infraspinatus and teres minor are attached on the which are the rotator cuff muscle are attached on the posterior surface, and supraspinatus muscle. This is the supraspinatus muscle which is attached on the anterior surface of the greater tuberosity or greater tuberosity. Now, some other muscles are also attached on this on the shaft of the humerus. One is the lateral head of the triceps, then medial head, and there is spiral groove. What is spiral groove? Here is a spiral groove, a groove like there is a groove on the humerus. This is for which nerve? This is for the dorsal nerve of the forearm, which is a which nerve? Which is a radial nerve. Which is which nerve? Which is the radial nerve. Then there is another muscle, and cuneus is attached here, and here is the other most important olecranon fossa, and this is the troglia. So now we will discuss about the muscles which are attached to the ulna and radius. First we will look on the anterior surface, then will we look on the anterior surface. There is the head and neck of the humerus, and capsule of this green indicates the green. What is indicated by this green portion of the ulna? This green indicates capsule of the elbow joint. This is the coronoid process, and here is attached the brachialis muscle. Here is attached which muscle? The brachialis muscle. This is the attachment for the brachialis muscle, which process? The coronoid process. Then what is so sorry for some inconvenience? In the previous in the start of this video, I told you that coronoid process is the attachment site for the brachialis muscle, but I am sorry, here on the coronoid process the brachialis muscle attached. Then on the ulna, pronator teres. You know that pronator teres has two heads. One is attached on the medial epicondyle of the humerus, and other is attached on the ulna on the proximal end of the on the medial end of the coronoid process. This is the medial end of the coronoid process. This is the coronoid process, and on the middle end of the coronoid process, we have the pronator teres second head or ulnar head. Flexor pollicis longus. Flexor pollicis longus is attached on the medial side of the coronoid process. Flexor pollicis longus. Now we will go toward the shaft, that which muscle attached here. Here is attachment, the attachment site for the flexor digitorum, and this is what type of digitorum? This is the profundus, flexor digitorum profundus. It is attached on the anterior surface, on the anterior surface. This is the flexor digitorum profundus on the anterior surface of the shaft of the ulna, while the flexor digitorum superficialis, this is the flexor digitorum superficialis, is attached on the oblique line which is present on the anterior surface of the shaft of the radius, and this is the which line? This is oblique line. This is oblique line, and this is the radial head of the flexor digitorum superficialis. The humeral end is attached on the medial epicondyle of the humerus, while this is the radial head. Also note that the flexor digitorum has two heads. Now flexor pollicis longus is attached on the middle side of the radius, and this is the only muscle which is attached on the only on the radius. Flexor digitorum superficialis is also attached on the radius, but it has another head which is also attached on the medial epicondyle, but only the flexor pollicis longus is attached on the anterior surface of the radius. But you can see that this is which muscle? Pronator quadratus is attached, and now you can see this is the this is the origin, and this is the insertion of the pronator quadratus, and the brachioradialis, which has origin the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, is inserted on the lateral distal end of the radius, and this is the styloid process of the radius. This is styloid process of the ulna. Now, and this is the interosseous membrane. This is the aperture for anterior interosseous artery. This is the aperture for anterior interosseous artery. Now, on the oligronal process of the ulna, triceps muscle is attached. Which muscle? Triceps muscle is attached, and below the oligronal process, here the incunius muscle is insertion. There is the insertion of the incunius muscle, and then this is the biceps attached on the radius, actually biceps, and there is the supinator muscle, and this is the insertion of supinator muscle. Supinator muscle arises from the lateral end of the lateral shaft end of the lateral side of the humerus, the radius, and inserts on the lateral side of the ulna. Then you can see abductor pollicis longus muscle. Abductor pollicis longus muscle, it has also two heads, and then you can see the extensor pollicis longus muscle. This is the extensor, and this is, and then this is extensor pollicis brevis. This is the aperture for interosseous artery. Now, and this is the dorsal tubercle of the radius. This is the capsula giant, and these are the things. So in the next lecture we will discuss about the carpal bones and some carpal bones and metacarpal bones and phalanges and some of the muscles attachment to those bones. And now we will wind up our lecture from this. Thank you.